Good evening. Welcome to the Irish column for Sunday, the 7th of July 2024. I'm Paul Fitzsimons, and I'll be joined tonight by Irish Freedom Party councillor Glenn Moore. I'll also be joined by Darragh Toner to talk later on as well. But we have a few good stories to talk about. But what I wanted to say straight off the bat, thoughts and prayers are with the two men who lost their lives yesterday, and we will talk about that now in a while. But welcome to the Irish column. And I'll bring in Glenn here now. Let me just bring the two of us in. How's Glenn? How's things? How are you doing, mate?
Good, yeah. How's yourself?
All right. Just Glenn is one of the Irish Freedom Party. He's the only Irish Freedom Party sitting councillor at the moment. With a bit of luck, we'll get a few TDs in the November. So how are you getting on up there in your neck of the woods? Is everything good?
It's as well as I expected it to be. There's a lot of problems. I suppose every councillor deals with a lot of problems. The majority of the problems is housing, and the majority of people that come to me with problems will be mostly our people, the Irish people, in terms of housing. So that's what I'm trying to tackle at the moment. So many people are on deadlines to be evicted, and they have nowhere to go. So that'll be the number one issue that I'm tackling at the moment.
Yeah, I had a couple of them at the doors as well. There was one man actually. I was supposed to get back onto him, but I didn't get in. So there's nothing really. I can't really help him now. You know what I mean?
I remember I was there with you.
Oh, you were with me. Jesus, you were with me. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I didn't follow up on that now. And there was a few other people talking to me as well about evictions as well. But I brought her up at a meeting on the radio show not this radio show that was in Blanchardstown FM or wherever it was. It was the debate with the 7 candidates, and I brought her up that there was a housing estate beside me in Hansfield that had been built, and it's nearly populated, and there's not one Irish family got a house in it. You know, it's the same thing happening over your neck of the woods. Is it? You know, you don't know, do you, or what? I heard
of one area where it came in 4 phases. I forget the housing estate. It's somewhere in Clondalkin. But the first, so phase 1, it's like phase A and phase B. The people in there that are getting the houses that are Irish are in the minority, and then the last 2 phases are no Irish. So hearing that is not good.
It's not. No, it's not. How are you, Glenn? Chris Bourne. How are you, Glenn? Who's this? Letitia Logan. Can you see me, anyone? I can see you all right. You can see on the picture, Letitia. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna just go with what we're going to talk about tonight is here for a while, and anyway, is what happened on the Canal, the Canal deaths. Okay, there was 2 guys apparently fished out of the Canal because the diving team and everything were there. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to play this video. Okay, this is just Canal deaths. It's just someone done a video of what was actually going on and how near it is to the migrant camp. You know, I'm not in any way blaming anyone or saying anything, but it's very fishy that 2 men die the same night, you know. So just let's play this one and we'll go with that. People just hanging around everywhere, you know. It's weird setup there, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's very close to the migrant camp and what have you. What do you think there? I'm just gonna
Well, I
present
heard
something.
when they pulled the two bodies out, the guard went in looking for weapons in the river. So sorry, in the canal. So obviously they're looking for. Obviously they suspect murder. So
yeah, well, this is what went up on the BBC. 2 bodies recovered from Canal in Dublin. An investigation is underway after bodies of 2 men were discovered in the Grand Canal in Dublin shortly after 8 a.m. local time on Saturday. Gardaí and Emergency Service responded to reports of a body in the canal. Irish broadcaster RTE reported the bodies of 2 males in their 40s were recovered from the canal a short time later. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. Gardaí have identified both individuals, but the formal identification process is still ongoing. The results of post-mortem examinations and local inquiries will determine the course of Garda investigations. Both men are understood to be of Irish nationals. A forensic examination was carried out beside the 2 tents pitched close to the banks of the Grand Canal. The bodies were found close to the Ranelagh Road Bridge. It is understood that the men were homeless. A large number of people had been sleeping in tents and close tents to the scene where the bodies were found on Saturday morning. In May, asylum seekers living in tents in Grand Canal were moved to other. Yeah, okay, but it is. I don't know. That's very, very suspect. You know.
Yeah, it is. Do we know they're Irish or they're sorry? Where were they from? Do we know anything about them?
They said Irish. Yeah, they said that they were. There is that they have been Irish. Yeah, that they said that they were Irish. Yeah, and they have been identified, but the formal identification has not been done yet. So obviously the family haven't been no, you know, the usual what they have to do before they can release names, you know. But as I said, it's very close. It's
it's very close. Yeah,
it's very I don't know. You know, as I said, I'm not blaming anyone or anything like that. But I seen Val put up a video as well. You know, a friend of mine, Val, she put up the video, and I'm just going to show. I have another one here. This just shows you the guard that's so back with him going in there. I think they went in for weapons. Did they, Glenn, or something like that?
Well,
Very close. The way they have it cordoned off. That must have been the 2 tents there. You know, 2 men stumbling into the canal at the same time. I don't know. The odds of either one of them not being able to swim.
Yeah, I mean, you may hear of a freak accident of someone dying when they don't swim, but 2 fully grown men.
Yeah. They could have been on drugs. They could have been drunk. Could have been anything. You know what I mean? I'm not. But it's very, you know. They've tents there. Look, there's more tents back here. Look at the tents down there on the left. Tents facing them. Oh, I don't know, mate. Really don't know. It's a weird one, all right, isn't it? And you won't hear much about it because, like, there's hundreds of Irish homeless have died over the last 2 years here. You know, especially in Dublin. I think there's 130 of them or something that died, and nobody talks about it. You know, who's to know? But hang on, I'll just see what we have here. I'm being shadow banned. Cheers. No, we can see it, Letitia. Yeah, we can see it. I heard about that only a few days ago. Absolute tragic. Yeah, it was absolute tragic. Okay, here we go. What's this? Patrick Joseph O'Toole. Hi, Paul. A 1919 Constitution, which has never been changed by referendum, does not allow evictions except in accordance with law. The 1919 Constitution is the supreme law and supersedes all man-made crown law. Use the 1919 Constitution against them. Okay. I think we spoke about this before, and the people I spoke to more or less told me that they control the law. So, you know what I mean? So what do? You fight them with their own controlled law. It's never going to work. You know what I mean? Because I don't think so. What do you think?
suppose there's a certain element of, if your majority of your population follows and believes in the constitution, that's the up to date one. You could say. I think the most
Yeah.
refined one is 2022 or something like that when it was last updated. I'm not too sure.
The amended stuff. Yeah.
Like that's where the legitimacy comes, where everybody follows that one. Even though you could say you're correcting an older one being followed, but if a majority follows the one that's up to date, there's nothing you can do. Like, your people follow, your government follows it. They recognise it as the most legitimate. So it'd probably be handy to follow an older constitution, but
well, if you look at this migration pact thing and the whole lot, like in the constitution, I think it's 29.5.2. It states if public funds are being used for immigration for these migrants coming in and the whole lot, that it has to go to a referendum. It has to be amended by the Dáil, and it wasn't. It was just a minister that brought these in on his own. You know what I mean? It wasn't brought in the Dáil. You know what I mean? There was no vote, there was no referendum, there was no nothing. You know. So I think that's another way we could be looking at different things as well. You know, someone's just asking there, how deep is the canal? I can't see it being that deep. Can you?
It's not that deep at all. Maybe.
Like it looks like where they were. It looks like that there's rushes there. You know, maybe they got caught in the rushes. Maybe I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm sure we'll find out in the next week or two. RTE were very quick in stating they were both Irish. Why is that exactly? You know what I mean? But then again, if you had to be migrants, it'd have been all over the place. They'd be saying, "Oh, someone's at the killing 2 migrants." You know what I mean? Or, you know the way RTE works. You know what I mean? Moving on to that.
It could be both equally bad. Migrants could have killed 2 Irish, or the migrants could have killed each other. So it could be them 2.
Yeah.
That's why they're not saying that more. Like so.
Yeah, but there's knife attacks everywhere.
Knife attacks every day. Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ! Twice a day now.
I've never, you know, I mean, growing up as a young lad, like in Dublin, even in the city centre, you wouldn't hear this madness every day, and it's every day, and it's coming in really the hour now.
Yeah, it's gone. Like I was watching a video the other day. I'm not going to show it. I had it there, but like 2 guys with machetes jumping off. I think they chopped some fella's hand off, and oh Jesus Christ, man, it's just gone. Like I grew up in a time where, listen, drugs were rampant, and you know it was really bad, the 80s and the 90s, but not to this extent. Like it's Jesus, I don't know. You know what I mean? But speaking of RTE and the propaganda and everything else, I'm just going to go with this video. This is Eddie Hobbs and Matty McGrath just talking about RTE. Now, people are saying Eddie Hobbs used to work for RTE and he's a this and he's a that. So we play the video. We'll see how he comes out the other side.
Do you think it is the case that, as soon as COVID hit in Q1 2020, I mean, what I call the fourth estate just disappeared. I mean, journalism just ended. I mean, it seems to me that the media is just simply a propaganda arm of government now. There's no scrutiny.
And the test run, they had them in their pockets anyway. And you see every year when a minister's appointed, even the Taoiseach Harris took over from the former Taoiseach, he appointed, in a couple of days, a week, he appointed 7 new PR people. I mean, it's unreal. I got a call from one of them today because I made an utterance in Irish today, and she thought that someone thought that I was asking her to comment, but she rang me, which is interesting. But look, they were perfected. They got the opportunity in COVID to test the media, and the media rolled over. Like I said, a fat sow rubbing over for somebody to rub butter onto their belly. That's what they did. But they got handsomely paid. The RTEs, all the big the monies they got. RTE were broke when before COVID, and they came back into the black. Funny enough, in spite of all the things we found out since. But what happened today? Minister Martin had somewhere today, and I knew this happened. Has announced a 20 million for RTE. I knew that happened before the summer holidays. I thought it'd be 50, it'd probably be added to before recess. So the media are not, and there are some good journalists there, but they're all being stifled by editorial.
The editorial, yeah.
And that's not happening. But, someone will still say, we like you, Matty, but we don't like the way you think.
But when we come back then, to just to spin it around a bit, when we come back to the vote on the 8th of March, when the Irish people put the run on the government on the two constitutions.
Yes.
They didn't pick that up from mainstream media. I mean, they picked that up, the analysis, from Michael McDowell and Una McGurk and people like yourself.
3 or 4 people. They picked it up from Suffrage and the Seas, where they wouldn't publish the Attorney General's advice. They wouldn't publish copies of the right, which the public are entitled to, advice, critical advice from a plethora of interdepartmental meetings about the implications of these 2 votes. And I say one thing about it, another. So I was quite shocked then when we fast forwarded, when they did the exact same thing with the migration debate, buried it. They wouldn't publish the AG's report. They wouldn't publish interdepartmental report. I was pleasantly surprised strangely surprised that the vote wasn't more strong against the government parties. But I've come to the analysis. I made the analysis for a long time. The whole public service is so massive. The NGO industry, all those hangers-on, I call them as well, they're all voting for the government because the government is putting money in their pockets and put food in. And the person said it to me a long time around. Look, he said, Matthew, you must remember, all these people have money in their pockets. Albeit the cost of living is high. They gamble that it's better to stay with this crowd than to change. So, on mature reflection, then when they had absolutely no opposition in Sinn Féin, they had flip-flops so many times. Yeah. They had more flip-flops than the TV show. So I'm making the point that people a lot of people should have went out to vote. Can't say they should, but that I thought who go to vote didn't go to vote. And then, as I said, the government know themselves. All these people have the hands around the handlebars of power. I mean, the top civil servants, the whole public sector system. They all voted for the status quo because that is protecting them. They're under the big tree. And if that tree was shaking a second time, they might be worried.
They're right, hadn't they? You know, what he was talking about there with the migration debate. You know, well, RTE did nothing on the migration debate. You know what I mean? Like, anything we seen or anyone seen was, well, that RTE showed was a good thing. But it was only the likes of us that was showing what was really happening. You know what I mean? And it's crazy, like, you know what I mean? And as he said as well, the NGO industry it's a €6.5 billion empire. Yeah.
It's woke.
$6.5 billion,
and it's used against the people in order to silence us. It's used in order to twist our minds. It's absolutely unbelievable. Millions thrown into this. Same RTE, completely controlled media, only allows won't even allow Independent Ireland or AIM2 or any other speak, like, so it's...
No. Niall Boylan was the only one who got close.
Nazi Germany at this stage, like, it's that bad, so...
Yeah, it has got... But Virgin Media is not much better. You know, they're the same. Like, and everyone is far right. You know what I mean? Anyone who speaks out against this is far right, and it's ridiculous, like. And another thing they said there...
They're the far left. Like, they've killed more people than the far right, so they're as evil as the far right, so...
But they're the fascists, you know what I mean? I don't know what they're talking about. Like, they are fascists, you know what I mean? Like, you only have to look at it in France, what happened last week when the vote started, when they said that this was going to happen and Le Pen was going to take over. The far left ran amok. They burned parts of Paris and everything, you know what I mean? It was... Yeah, it was crazy. But another thing he was talking about there as well, and what Mike McGrath says too, people have money in their pockets now. You know, people have... Like, okay, you're a software engineer or whatever, is it? I don't know what you do, but I'm sure you'll be on good enough money, Glenn. You know what I mean? But, like, I know people 100, 110. I have a mate that's on nearly 300 grand. You know what I mean? But these are all people who have cushy numbers. They go away 2 and 3 times a year. They watch the football. They don't want to make waves. And they don't want to be classed as an ist or an ism. You know what I mean? That's why they don't want to talk about anything. You know, they'll tell you in private, oh, I agree with everything you're doing. Oh, fair play to you, mate. You have my vote. Like, you might get the vote, but, you know, I don't know. People just need to get out more and talk more and let people know what's going on. Like, we're up to 400 there, lads. Keep it going there now. Keep sharing it out there everywhere you can. And we're also on WhatsApp as well. I just tell you there now. You can get us on WhatsApp on live on 089 203 1521. That's 089 203 1521. Okay, let's get rid of that. But yeah, and like Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, they all have the votes. You know what I mean? They all have their little cronies and their people that are on the bread, you know, that are getting looked after the gravy train. You know what I mean? So they know they have them votes. You know what I mean? That's the killer part. We need to get out there and push ourselves.
We can
you know what I mean?
we can actually take their voters as well. We won't just take the Sinn Féin votes, because we are the Nationalist Party, but we're also right wing capitalist. And there's a lot of people out there that are well educated and they're capitalists. They like the idea of working and themselves being looked after, and they just want to get on with their lives. So we will gain their votes as well when they realise that the society is going towards a Marxist socialist society. So if we show ourselves to be a better capitalist than Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael, then yeah, we'll take the votes off them as well. But it'll take time. Like I said, we're about 5-10 years behind the rest of Europe. And these parties, it's a sense of corruption you got off Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. That's what we can see. And that's why I was kind of, someone asked me about like why are you've seen it as well, why are Sinn Féin the traitors and not Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil? It's because when they were doing all this madness, we all turned to Sinn Féin to stop it. The opposition just to save the country, but they didn't. They just said yes to everything. Everything they did is yes, 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 and everything got passed through the dial. Not like 50-50, more 80-20. That's why Sinn Féin are traitors. That's where it comes from. So, and it just spread and got out. So
it did.
Yeah.
I have Dara Tona. Dara's going to come up here now. I'm going to bring Dara up. Hang on there. Boom. Hello, Dara. How are you?
Good on yourself, Paul. You
I'm
shin
good.
out well.
I did. I went for a shower earlier. That's what happened, yeah. But Dara,
that grand piano, that was a clothes horse a minute ago.
I know, yeah. That door was a washing machine. I know, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is Dara, Glenn. This is Dara. Dara ran. Myself and Dara had sort of, I'd say, carbon copy campaigns. He had 22 posters rubbed in one night, and I had 32 rubbed in one night.
Yeah,
people
mostly people fall off of the communists that do that are organised. So
yeah.
Well, it was the night I asked on Facebook the Sinn Féin candidate for a public debate, and hours later they were gone. So I'd say he got the runs and rang Mary Loopy Loo.
Yeah.
Because you'd need a van, a two-man team, and
they started putting mine back up last week, but you want to see where they had it. It was, again, you'd need a ladder and a van. Yeah, it was way up, man. I had to get my own big ladder and a mate of mine up, and he got up and done it. But there's no way you would have just pushed it up, you know what I mean, from the roads, you know what I mean? And it's not kids. It's not kids. And it's reported to the guards, they couldn't give a shit, you know what I mean? You know yourself, they couldn't give a shit,
Well, I had to notify them because so many were stolen. I says, look, if any of these resurface, I'm not accepting any bill for that or fine because they were stolen and I took down what was left.
Yeah, I was the same. I got 70. I got I had 13 that were ripped to shreds. I got 28. So what's that? 30. I'm missing still about 26. Yeah. And I got one back last week, so I'm missing still about 25. But the guard said I'll get a pulse number and everything. So,
They're that rare. I was giving them away as prizes on Facebook.
I thought all the women were robbing them in the area. I thought they had them on the walls, you know what I mean?
Well, there's no picture of me on them girls,
There's me on mine. It was a good picture too, wasn't it, Ken? But just let me have a look there. Boom, boom, boom. We were talking about the Canal deaths there, the two guys that were found on the Canal. What did you think of that, Dara? Did you?
Well, I think they're martyrs of Ireland. Obviously, they were dead going in the water. And we're not going to find out about that because such are the laws that the 33rd Dáil have made that you can't give out details when foreign people are involved or that it would cause unrest in the country. They'll make any law up to suit themselves at this stage. But
they done the same with the stabbing in Parnell Square in November. There was no reporting on that. So that was a D notice. It's called a D notice that they put on that there's no reporting. You know what I mean? So That's why we've heard nothing about. I'll be honest with you. Okay, I had a penknife in my bag when I was arrested in February, and there's been more coverage of my penknife than there has of the guy who stabbed 3 kids in November. How mental is that? You know what I mean?
And that's why we were touching on it off air, that I felt after standing for election that there is no sense in us standing again for election because of the media, and that it is bought by that 33rd doll. So I would say to every solicitor person who has studied criminal law, I've only done a little bit in ACCA of business law, but there's surely a case there that we know that the 33rd doll paid all of our media outlets to keep the narrative to lock us down. And we need to extend that and find proof that there are still payments there, and bring down the media, because as soon as they're no longer paid, they need additional revenue, which is, it's not being covered at the moment, because who watches RTE, for instance? So take that be the Sunday World. If they don't have that revenue anymore, they're going to have to start selling newspapers by telling the truth. So we're at last chance saloon. We have to take down that media before we go for election again.
It's very hard to take them down if they're getting another 20 million from the government. Isn't it 20 million this week they're getting or something like that? Crazy money. Crazy.
Very hard not to get extremely annoyed by any of this.
Oh, I know.
I always keep saying it'll keep pushing our people closer and closer to civil war, just the way it's pushed France to civil war.
Yeah.
We're not at that stage, but that's the truth. That's what happens.
God bless you. And congratulations, Councillor Glenn.
Thanks very much.
Well done to you.
I'm just going to share that screen there now. Okay. Sinn Féin has plummeted to its lowest poll rating since 2020, according to the latest poll. The Sunday Independent Ireland Thinks poll saw the main party drop 4 points to 18% of forced preferences. That's a big drop. And we've been talking about this on the show for months now. Every 3 months, they have been dropping 3 points. 6 months ago, they did the Sharia thing. Do you remember they went to the mosque? They dropped 3 points that week. Like every week they're doing something, or every 2 months they're doing something, and they're dropping these 3 points. This is why they need a general election now.
Did they not realize?
This is also. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, did Sinn Féin not realize that Islam is not compatible with Western values at all? Like, the more people, most educated people will see it as forced. So they're like, there's no way we can live alongside Islam, like, because they claim in Ireland, is it some council of Muslims in Ireland? They say that if they gain the majority in population, that they
the Muslim Brotherhood.
The Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah, they claim that they will return this country to Islam, and those that don't follow Islam will be punished.
Yeah.
So,
but okay, just gotta go. This is also a 19-point drop since the party's peak in October 22. Fine Gael has raced ahead on top of the poll by 24%, an increase by 2 points since the last poll. They have shot ahead because we were only talking about it the other night, Glenn, at the party meeting, that Simon Harris came out with 8 points in the Dáil the other day. Boom, boom, boom. And he may as well have been reading them from our manifesto, because everything he came out with is in our manifesto. You know what I mean? The extra sentencing, the more homes, you know what I mean? Everything. So I think this is how they're gaining, you know what I mean? They're giving the people what they want to hear, and gobshites are just listening and taking it, you know? The Green Party, Social Democrats and Ain2 all polled at 4%, while the Labour Party polled at 3%. I don't know how they're polling at 3%. The independent politicians and other parties saw a 3-point decrease to 20%. The majority, 33%, that said their preferred government is coalition between Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and independent politicians. They want the Greens out, as does everyone, because of the bullshit. A quarter of people asked supported the Sinn Féin-led government, excluding Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, while 20% supported the existing coalition. How mental are them people? Jesus Christ.
Do you remember the day of the vote? If I was on YouTube, all of the Fianna Fáil and Sinn Féin and Fine Gael ads were playing in between, let's say, the music videos that you were watching.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't allowed during those hours.
I think it was. I think the YouTube, still was. I think so. Because I think, wasn't Herman's playing during the day or something like that? Or I remember someone talking about
the
this.
Media. The media are not allowed to. More. What's the word?
Moratorium.
Yeah. Not allowed to play. It was like 1 o'clock the day before. I think something like that. I think that's what it was. And then the deadline is like 4 or something. I don't know.
I'm just having a read there that Chris Bourne, no one's flower. Sorry, are you the guy who brought the flowers today to the place on the canal where the homeless people died? I seen that video. It was a nice touch from the, I think the Dublin Soup Kitchen or the Dublin Soup Run. And
it'd be nice to go to the funeral, lads, wouldn't it?
Yeah, listen, everyone should go to the bleeding funeral. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say this is going to drag out for a few days. You know what I mean? They're going to have to. What happened there? My screen just went off for some reason. But don't know what happened.
We'll hear the mass. If somebody could share that, I'd like to attend it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just having a look here. Right, we're talking about France, right. This is France today, right, or last night, right? Now watch this. France is born, right, until a guy and a girl are sitting drinking wine at a cafe. That's how bad France has got.
Well, nothing interrupts the conversation and a good bottle of wine for this couple in France. Look at this. Diners in the city of Bordeaux were unfazed by demonstrators who were protesting against changes to the retirement age in that country, even with a raging fire right in front of them. The couple still managed to enjoy their date. That's because they're always protesting in France. Everybody's used to it.
Yeah, they look totally unbothered.
No, it doesn't bother them at all. Must be good wine.
It must be.
Oh, what's it happening? Can you leave the screen? It's gone off.
It was.
Can you still see me?
Yeah, it was their far left that went out and rioted with the Muslims the night that the far right got into power. But RTE will play it up that it's, like the opposite way around.
But that's what RTE do, you know what I mean? Like even the coverage of Joe Biden, like they have Joe Biden on a pedestal, like he's this great man. The man can't even tie his bleeding shoelaces. Like it's gone ridiculous. And since that Trump debate, wow, the whole world has seen this now. Like it's, and people are saying he's as sharp as a tack. He's as sharp as a tack. He's as sharp as a tack. If you watch any of the news channels in America, they're all coming out with this line: "Sharp as a tack, sharp as a tack." What bleeding end of the tack? The bumpy end, the pointy end of the other end.
It was one of the things that actually woke me up was during Trump's election first time around. If you followed the Australian news, they had Trump on the pedestal. In Europe, he was the biggest weirdo on the planet, and America too, bar Fox News. And the same fella owns all of those news networks like Sky News, but he wasn't being paid for his opinion in how he gave out the news in Europe or America. But in Australia, it was just the news.
Well, it's a different franchise, I think. It's a different franchise. It's not. It's a different franchise,
but there was nobody paying him. There was no interest to show anybody in good or bad light. So you just got the normal bit of news in Australia,
Yeah. What's that? A couple got raped in Killarney recently. A couple. Jesus Christ, I didn't hear about that. Did anyone hear about that? I didn't hear about that. What have we got there? Has anyone get used to that? It's mental. No. But okay, Micheál Martin. Yeah, there's talk about him running for president. Did you see that? He's stepping down and running for president. That's a huge red flag.
We heard that Bertie Ahern was supposed to go. Maybe he's not going anymore. Was it Bertie Ahern, Jerry Adams, and Enda Kenny? So maybe Micheál Martin is going for it. He probably knows he's going to lose the election, maybe the general election. Don't know.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's what this guy is just saying, that it's sort of an insurance thing for the government, isn't it, to have him in there, you know?
Yeah, but even with Leo Varadkar, like before he got fired, before he went over to see Biden that day on Paddy's Day and got a lump of shamrock up his hole, he put in legislation that you can't go after somebody who served as prime minister in the country or wherever like that for stuff that they did then, you know. So they're all running now, like Simon, what's his name? Forget not the prime, not the current Taoiseach, Simon Coveney, that Cork who. Like they're all leaving office and I've other things I should be doing because they've made their money and are getting out because they've committed too much crimes already. Leo Varadkar, before again he got fired, he says on Euro News, committing 50 billion of the European tax euros to the Ukraine war. And that accounts for about 9 billion from Ireland. And that's our budget surplus. That's a war that's won by Russia 10 times over. And we're paying for their pets in Ireland 150 million a year and giving them free houses. And them Instagram stars that go home on fucking holidays. Like,
someone posted up there, Coveney's brother was the manager of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Russia. Okay, I didn't know that. Of course, but Joshua leaves nothing.
The best chance we have, at least for Europe, is to have Trump get in anyway for the presidency. And if he doesn't win, you know it's rigged, and a lot of people lose the faith in democracy if he doesn't win. So there's no way Biden can get in with the...
I think they'll make their dollar crash before that.
If it crashes, then we'll have major wars break out throughout the globe. That's because
it'll bring down Europe, you see, and that'll break us from the shackles of Europe. But there I see that we're part of fucking Britain by PSNI and the Gardaí. It's all private army, MI5. So they're going to make a run for us big time. So the day that dollar falls, that's where we need to start.
I say to everyone, the biggest fear I would have is that if the United States economy collapses, it won't be able to support its military. And with its military, it has like 11 super battle groups that patrols the globe. And I think one battle group is the equivalent of like an entire country's military. It's massive. Like I think that the United States military, you have to combine the 23 countries behind it in order to match the United States military. It's massive, huge. And its economy supplies it. So if the economy can't supply it, then those battle groups will just disappear. And you'll have wars break out 100%. You'll have wars break out in Africa, and you'll have Taiwan being attacked by China, and you're going to disappear.
Definitely.
the free market.
That's the next big one.
Food is going to stop flowing.
I think I'll be making a beeline for Israel myself, the shower of fucks.
Israel is
they promised nuclear war on everybody if they're touched. So if they can go peacefully.
Good for nuclear weapons.
But when you look at the weapons Biden left in Afghanistan, $85 billion worth of weapons, man. Come on.
And their military uses it now to patrol the streets and everything. Like it looks like Americans patrolling Afghanistan. It's not.
Now they can fight at night because they have all the night vision goggles. They never used to be able to fight at night. That's how the Americans used to kill them. They go in there at night, boom, 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 they're dead. Now these fellas have all the blading equipment. You know what I mean? We're smashing it there, lads. We're up to 700 there now. Keep it going. But I'm just looking at this on the bottom there. Moussa Dougan shows up. You know your man, the Turkish fella, the terrorist fella, at Charlemagne Street Bridge when they were investigating the scene on the Canal. What did he turn up for? I suppose a lot of people turned up and doing videos. But nobody's loves Suzanne had my number. Joshua, we did it. Okay. Musa Dugan and 2 lefty NGO girls were trolling and insulting any nationalists that were at the scene. Why?
It's probably that girl,
exactly.
that lady. What's her name?
Olivia.
Oh, yeah, her. Yeah, that's the lady.
The fat one. Yeah.
Natasha.
No, that's the other one. That's Natasha's the one that had the row with the soldier guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this one is the NGO. This is the NGO one that she's the one that gives them the tents and everything else at the.
Oh, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Gavin Pepper caught her there a few weeks ago, and
that's right. It was a great video, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great video. I want to run with this video of Kevin Sharkey, right? You've all probably seen it, probably, but the way he comes out and slags everyone off, okay, he slags off the IFP, he slags off National Party, he slags off everyone. Now, I think myself, he's at the shooting himself in the foot, that nobody wants to listen to it, and we'll come back to it.
Okay, this is a video which I've been meaning to make for a while. I want to explain to you something about a New Ireland, the political party which I'm in the process of forming. The first thing I want to explain to you is that it is not a party that will welcome bigots, racists, or homophobes. I'm approached on a daily basis by various national parties wanting me to throw in my lot with them. Unfortunately, as we've discovered, many of the national parties have amongst their members exactly that: bigots, racists, homophobes, and I will have no time and no truck with any of those people. I was approached today by one of the national parties who actually called me Fergal. And then when I asked what part I thought they would play in their party, they said, well, you'd be a token. A token. Do I look like a token? The truth is that it's time for Irish people to wake up to the fact that many of the smaller national parties are full of racist, homophobes and bigots. And if that's who you are, you will not be welcome and you'll have no place in a new Ireland. And the truth is at the end of the day, these are all failed parties. They haven't achieved anything for their members. They haven't lived up to their promise of bringing change about in Ireland, and I have no time for any of them. At the beginning of my political career, I joined Sinn Féin, I joined the National Party, and I joined the Irish Freedom Party. And what I found in every instance was not a group of people who had Ireland and Irish people at their hearts, but a group of self-satisfied people who felt that it was their right to use bigotry, hatred to spread nastiness. And that is something we will not tolerate in a new Ireland. And to the people out there who keep on telling me, and I'm shocked and amazed at so many people telling me, well, you're going to split the vote. No, I'm not going to split the vote. I'm going to take the vote. I'm sorry that you have so little confidence in the country and in the people of Ireland not to recognise when a real opportunity comes along to effect real change in the political establishment. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I have no time for the people who tell me, oh, you should get in with this crowd, you shouldn't get... No, absolutely. I'm not interested in getting in with losers. I'm in this to win.
Somebody's just posting up there. Yeah. Now, that video is... I'm going to be honest, I don't know who he was contacted by or who called him Fergal, or we asked about this the other night and we were told it was bullshit, that never happened. But listen, I'd say what happened there was he knew that nobody was joining this party, so he said he'll come out now and throw this shit out at people, you know what I mean? That's what I think he did, But somebody has posted there now, the Git did a great video on him exposing this, and I'm going to play that video now because he does. Because apparently he's friends with Mel Sutcliffe. Mel Sutcliffe is the man that owns the ESB building and Turnip Lane. Mel is making millions from this migration thing, you know what I mean? Sharkey sold him 20 of his paintings or something. Have a listen to it and we'll come back to it.
A new Ireland, 1,000 leading people calling for Varadkar to lead change. Sinn Féin must outline what its version of a new Ireland would look like. Ireland's futures, preparing for a new Ireland. Fine Gael, towards a new Ireland. What's Kevin Sharkey's new political party called again? Oh yeah, a new Ireland. Must be a coincidence though. In unrelated news, this is Mel Sutcliffe, the face of an investment fund making huge profits from the plantation of your communities. The main man in Quanta Capital, who works alongside Aaron Madden and Owen Coughlin, for example. Quanta Capital, which is responsible for the ESB building in Eastwall, for example. The building in Santry, and many other plantation centres around the country. Refugee Town was built without planning permission. The biggest planning scandal in the history of the state. The owner of the estate is a Dublin-based company called Tondo Limited, whose directors are listed as Owen Coughlin and Joe Crystal. Both men are also involved in an investment firm called Quanta Capital. Quanta Capital boss Mel Sutcliffe pleaded guilty to falsely imprisoning a young man whom he later interrogated and beat. What a lovely man. The man was subsequently murdered later that day in an incident that Gardaí say was unrelated to the abduction and did not involve Sutcliffe. What a coincidence. Top Irish artist Sharkey on coming from homelessness to being more successful than ever. Forget about the presidency. I want to die rich or die trying. One of his fans is Irish-based art collector Mel T. Sutcliffe, whose personal gallery contains works by Pablo Picasso, Francis Bacon, Jack B. Yeats and Lucian Freud. He has 20 of my paintings. It has elevated me into the big boys club.
I am my own man. I'm not bought, I can't be paid for, and
You want to get rich or die trying. And the person that made that happen just happens to be one of Ireland's biggest migrant slum landlords, who's profiting hugely off the destruction of Ireland. Another big coincidence, isn't it? I also see you're threatening to sue people that call you a prostitute. I was forced to hire myself out as a gigolo. No, you weren't. Did you ever hear of hard graft? Now off to Sutcliffe and hot tua and spit on that tang.
Brilliant.
Nobody does it. I have to say, he's the best around. He is. He really is. Them videos.
I love that
brilliant.
some of us have become really good journalists, really good readers, who go and investigate these things. God, we're brilliant, and what we can achieve when we put our minds to it. But my hat goes off to that man. I love him. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he is. He has single-handedly gets this message out every other day. You know what I mean? And he is brilliant. And he's a nice guy. I've met him a few times. He is a good guy,
Yeah. With regards to the other fella, I never ever paid attention to him. So I've nothing to say about him. I never took the hook at all.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's RTE. And if you go RTE and hanging around with rugby people, you've got gag orders all over you for whatever business you're involved in. You can't speak your mind. Can't tell the truth. For fear of losing it,
Exactly. Now you have it. Yeah. But what do you think, Glenn?
He's planning on targeting the Generals, and it's the party called New Ireland. He will get votes. Probably will get people elected.
He will, yeah.
I was told he has many members already, and he has people probably standing for him. So I don't know whether he will be our political enemy truly, but
he will dilute votes.
It will split the votes and they'll transfer between, I'd say. But I don't know what to think of him. To be honest.
I'll be honest with you. I had great time for him. I thought he was a great guy. I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was with us. I thought when he spoke in Thornton Hall, it was brilliant. It was from the heart, and then to come out with this, that everyone's a homophobe and a transphobe.
I think he misses the whole concept of everybody is their own individual. And you'll have psychopaths on the right and you'll have psychopaths on the left. Like you'll have people part of Sinn Féin which are like totally a communist lunatic that wants to bring about the new Soviet Union and all that. And you'll have people on our side, want to bring about Nazi Germany and all this. So it'll happen. But he thinks that he'll make I believe that he thinks that he'll make a very pure party, very good party. But truly it won't. You'll have people that are psychopaths everywhere, and you can't. He's not going to get rid of them. So. Unfortunately, you have to deal with what you have. That's that, and he'll suffer with the same thing. He'll realize that his party will be full of a few homophobes here and there, or racists, or whatever it is, and that's it. You just have to deal with it. There's probably racists and lunatics in Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. You just don't know.
We know the Social Democrats and the people before puberty are just head cases. Like we know that.
We've seen them there during the pro-life rally. Like they were naked. The people for profit were naked. Shown all sorts of nudity towards people that were pro-life. I just couldn't believe it. Bring up a video on that. Someone bring up a
On
video
that note, this is a video from yesterday. In case anyone didn't know, we were at a pro-life rally yesterday in town where there was thousands of people. There must have been, I don't know. The people are saying 10,000. I don't know. I couldn't see that far back, to be honest with you. But there was definitely thousands. And then as we went,
the national rally, it was huge.
Yeah, as we went down past the GPO, again, the guards had them blocked off from us. And I'm just going to let you see. It's only a couple of seconds. It's only about 20 seconds long, but this is how mental these people are. Already won't do it. One of the lads got
I was going to say, pause the video for your viewers where they're actually naked and just show the people for profit banners in the back and the witches. They're actually dressed up as witches and their breasts are shown.
Just bear with me.
So, and you can spread that around and say that that's the people for profit and that's what they want. Yeah.
And that's exactly
Jum and Bambi, again, it's all satanic worship, satanic ritual. If you ask these people, do you believe in God? They'll laugh at you like.
Exactly.
I disagree. These people are. If you ask them, do you believe in God? They probably say yes, but we're against them. They'd actually come out and say, no, we're for saying we're for this. They actually say this. I had a conversation with one before, like, and they're like, oh, God has done nothing for me and all that, and that's what he's my enemy and all this. I'm with Satan. I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like,
and it's blatant now across the board. Like, what's her name? Satanic ritual in the Aviva the other night, Taylor Swift. Like, she has that within our show as well. The Pentagon on the ground. I didn't see it on Irish videos, but I seen it on YouTube's of other performances.
I'm not a religious person, but it's quite insulting to be in a. We're still a majority Catholic. A lot of our people are still Catholic, and we still our people, our whole culture is Catholic, is Catholicism. To commit to this country and to wave something satanic, that's something that opposes the Holy Trinity or Christ or something like that. It's very insulting to a lot of Catholics in this country. It's not insulting to me. I don't care. I just think it's weird. But
it's very insulting to me as a Christian.
To me as well. Yeah, it is
very.
It's not a nice thing to do. Like, there's you could talk
to the first line in our constitution is that Ireland is a Christian sovereign state. So nobody can change that.
Yeah. As you can see from that picture there, there's 4 witches. There's probably 20 witches there, to be honest with you. Look at half of them. Jesus Christ.
And the red flags are the people for profit flags.
Yeah. And then to the left down here, we had the trans flag, I think it was. I think that was here as well.
Yeah, I think the trans flag had a picture of Lenin on it as well. So it just shows you the absolute stupidity of these people and what they want. Like,
the real proof of it is. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I was going to say, they don't realize that if they bring about their communist utopia, the likes of them will be the first to be shot in this.
Exactly, because any Palestinian would throw a gay person off a roof. That's how they do things. I did support Palestine since 2014, and it was a terrific rabbit hole to go down because you learn all about the CIA, the deep state, Mossad, and then it all clicks together. What shit we're in. It's global, and it's Christians who are under attack globally. Like, even my friends that I've met on Twitter are Chaldean Christians from Iraq, which is all Mesopotamia, and they would speak Aramaic, the language of Jesus Christ. And they're the first Christians, the 9 churches. And who killed them? Who made them, the last of them, run to America? Was ISIS. Who created ISIS? Well, that was Mossad. That's Israel. With the help of the CIA in Iraq, So the root of all evil, it all goes back down and we can name them. It's NGOs, Blackwater, the Freemasons. Interesting, the 20th of September, we were all in Dublin City, and we were protesting last outside our door. It was our first big rally, and we were a little disappointed by the turnout. So myself and Leon Bradley, we found the Freemasons' house. It's just good to go in here for a fight, you know.
Yeah, I've seen Andy
Every
Heisman outside talking.
unionist from Northern Ireland was at that. Yeah, in our Dublin City, doing what?
Anthony just posted there. He loves your chain, Dara. I like Dara's chain.
Thank you very much. It wasn't
I had the
expensive.
exact same one. I had the exact same one, and I switched it out the night I got the
when you got the things off the party.
The coins. The night I got the coins. I'm not religious, but I wear the Celtic cross because it's a symbol of our people.
Well, I tell you, get yourself one either the which way, because if I walk down my main street now, I'm clocked as being anti-Muslim. So I get the Allah Akbar eyes from all the boys having their smoke outside the Muslim wash shop, haircut salon.
There's someone posting up there now. It's gone very dark. It's gone very well. Here, I'm the same. Look, I have Glenn's not religious, but I have the Blessed Virgin. That's what I have there, the miraculous medal, and that's blessed by the real Pope. So, but someone here posted up. It's gone very dark nowadays. Saw Lady Gaga with horns on her shoulder and face. It's rotten. Like it's gone ridiculous. Like you've seen last year.
We'll talk about it for a little second. But when you see a celebrity doing this, or you see the panda eyes, it's about the drilling behind of the eye to access a gland, which when a person is extremely distraught before death and in a lot of pain,
adrenochrome,
will secrete a hormone called adrenochrome. And it is that they're taking from a child, right? And they've been taking this since year dot, but now it's Hollywood, baby, and they're all at it. So when you see a celebrity doing this, or the panda eyes, they are Satanists, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Symbolism, yeah. But he said it the same last year. Was it Travis Scott? Was there 9 kids killed at that concert as well? 9 kids died at that concert. And I seen things online saying it was a ritual killing and this. Listen, you don't know. I know you're going to see this, that, and the other online, but I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole tonight. That's a show for another night. We'll talk about that another night. Sorry, folks. Dublin has always been an Anglo town. Need to move the capital out west, down to Achill, will it, or somewhere like that?
No problem.
Yeah, the eye of viral worship.
You can have it.
Show the video compilation of the adrenochrome in Disney movies. Yeah, I haven't got it there, but I will show it. I have seen it. I haven't got it there now. Loose straining. Okay. So what was I talking about there? Yeah, okay. We had Starmer. Keir Starmer was he's the new Prime Minister of the UK. And we also had Simon Harris on today talking about Starmer. And this is about the new reset. The buzzword here is reset. So you have to listen. We listen and you hear what Harris has to say first.
The British-Irish relationship is really strong. And let me say this, politics aside and the challenges of politics, at the end of the day, we're neighbours, we're friends, in many cases we're family as well. And there's an opportunity now, a real opportunity that we must seize and that the next generation will never forgive us for if we don't, to press reset, to say, yes, it's been a difficult few years, but you know what? We've so much more in common than divides us. We have so many issues of mutual concern. We are 2 islands side by side. Let's work together and let's fulfill the promise of the Good Friday Agreement, and a Good Friday Agreement that I know is very much in the DNA of the British Labour Party and is something that I really, really want to talk to Keir Starmer about.
How much does he charge for a haunt in a house?
I don't believe, no. I said that a couple of weeks ago.
He's like George. Looking article altogether.
Yeah. Okay, that was him talking. Now listen to this. This is Keir Starmer talking.
And it is surely clear to everyone that our country needs a bigger reset a rediscovery of who we are. Because no matter how fierce the storms of history, one of the great strengths of this nation has always been our ability to navigate a way to calmer waters. And yet this depends upon politicians, particularly those who stand for stability and moderation, as I do, recognizing when we must change course. For too long now, we've turned a blind eye as millions slid into greater insecurity.
Well, the
there
United
you go.
Kingdom is doomed anyway.
The what?
The United Kingdom is doomed. Its people have
I
fallen.
think it is as well,
They're
yeah.
not recognized anymore, and so will we soon if we don't take control back. So that's all I have to
They've
say.
Yeah, I
taken
think so,
away
yeah.
the Rwanda Pact, I believe, which
Yeah,
is
straight
making
away.
it worse for Ireland again, because not
Yeah.
only they had the Rwanda Pact, that it pistoned into Ireland through Northern Ireland, so many migrants. And I
Yeah.
believe that was to quell any sort of rebellion in Ireland, because look at us all chatting here, you know.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that they're going to go back into Europe, the UK, and
Yeah.
their way in is that Ireland and England are joined at the hip, as in a united Ireland
well,
with United Kingdom.
that would be an insult towards democracy because the people voted to get out originally. So if you do have another referendum and it doesn't pass, it should be quelled for a long, long time. But if they vote and get back in, I don't think they will. To be honest, they should stay the hell out. If they're more Eurosceptic, yeah, they should stay the hell out because what the European Union is just taking more and more control of the people of Europe. Like it's become more of a dictatorship than democracy. Like I don't understand why we're in it. Like, well, we only have like less than 1% of the voice. So everything that's decided for us is decided by unelected people, and most of the time it's people that have actually. It's bureaucracy, so it's people that are in there that have gotten jobs and they make decisions on behalf of Ireland, not even the elected representatives in Europe. So I don't understand how we all believe this is a great democracy and it's
That's how I canvassed as well, is that it wasn't a great sales pitch to say I want to leave Europe, but if they asked about it, I'd say, well, I think it's going to fall. And I think it's going to fall because of the dollar, and it'll take down the euro because they're too intertwined, you know.
I have the leader here with us now. I have Herman at the coming on with us there now, so let him come in and have a chat. By the way, you look good, yeah. We're smashing it here, people. We're up to 1,200 there already, so keep sharing this out there now, please. Herman, how are you doing, buddy? How's things?
Hello, Paul. How you keeping? Glenn, Dara, good to see you.
And you?
You're looking tired.
I just did a 2-hour space there.
I know. I seen her on there, but I was getting ready for this and doing what I had to do, and getting me guests in the studio and making sure they were all working and everything else. But you probably didn't see whatever there, but we had Harris and Ann Starmer talking about this new reset, that we have to do a reset. So, I'm not liking that.
Yeah, well, like, come on, the word, everybody knows the power of that word. Reset, you said, yeah. Well, everybody knows what that comes from. They know the meaning of it. It's not just a reset, press a button for relations between Ireland and Britain. But when they're saying Great Reset, they know the WEF thing is behind that. Everybody knows the language, and it would be very naive if we didn't accept that that's what really they meant behind it all. Actually, do you know what we were thinking about this evening as well? Is the whole thing of the electoral systems of Britain and of France. We just this evening there. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the French election and the results of the
we do. We
UK election? But also, so if you look at the two systems, you've had there the first past the post system in Britain. You had the Reform Party got over 14% of the vote. They got only 4 seats, and yet you had other parties got a much smaller vote, a multiple number of seats. I believe the Lib Dems got a multiple of that. At the same time, in France, you have this 2-stage system, and if you believe that the UK system is very bad, the first past the post system is very unfair because because the Labour vote, they get a massive avalanche of seats, and yet their vote only went up just, I believe, 1.2%. But in France, you have a different problem, and you have a two-stage voting system. So everybody runs in the first instance, and then you have a second run in the election. A number of the smaller parties, they coalesce or they drop out or whatever, and it's all about defeating the other. And in France, the situation was always about defeating the Rassemblement, the Le Pen party, and but it just shows and throws into high relief what do we think of the Irish voting system. And I believe, say there in the European election, for example, where it's a 5-seater, I believe the Irish system is pretty good if the constituency is of a large size. If it's 5 seats and over, 5 seats, 6 seats, 7 seats, at the minute the maximum number of seats per constituency is 5, but I believe if the minimum is 5, that the outcome will be very proportional or more proportional given the voters, that their opinions are reflected and the representatives who are elected. I believe if it's only 3 or 4 seats, that's only a recipe to have constant Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin voted in time after time. I believe we need more constituencies with 5, 6, or even 7 seats, that it gives a voice to the smaller, newer parties like the Irish Freedom Party. New voices have to be heard, and the voice of everybody who is voting must be listened to, and that's only possible. Single transferable vote system is good, but it is only really proportional if it's large constituencies of 5, 6, or 7 seats. That's my view. I don't know what you guys think.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's kind of like the Delaware Agreement for the United States, where it's 2 senators for every federal. Like it keeps the bigger states from gaining too much power. Like, so it does work in our favor. It's great. I suppose we were in terms of for France, we were hoping maybe Le Pen would have won at least. It's a shocking turnaround.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to ask what the headline there said 200 candidates dropped out. What do you mean by that? How did that happen?
I think they were candidates from the left. Are they left candidates that dropped out so the others wouldn't get the votes? Or sorry,
yes.
Can you talk about that one, Herman?
Yes, I believe so. Basically, there's an amalgamation towards a number of left-wing candidates. Others would drop out, and then all the left or centre candidates would vote for these other ones. It's basically vote for anybody apart from Le Pen. So all the parties, Republicans, those on the left, it's basically they all vote for anybody apart from Le Pen. And there was, so that's where we are. I believe the French voting system is the only one more unfair than the British first past the post system. I believe our system and the German one, both normally they make the argument that first past the post system gives a stable government. So we've had a slight increase in Labour, but they had a massive majority for the Labour Party. So they say, it really picks up and augments the movement and gives an easy, stable government, but it's very disproportionate. So you can get a party which only gets 30% of the vote, but which has a massive majority in the parliament. So the single transferable vote system, especially when there's large constituencies, makes it much more proportionate. But I do believe that the French system is an absolute travesty, and it was designed to keep all the politics in the centre as much as possible, and that's the reason for the kind of two stages.
I agree. What do you think yourself, Derek?
You have to get 51% in order for it not to go on to a second vote, isn't it, Herman?
Yeah.
That
wasn't reached, and that's the reason for the second round.
Yeah. Well,
That's certainly the case in the presidential election. Now, this was the legislative election, so I'm not 100%, but there's almost always two stages in the French elections.
When is the presidential election in France? 3 more years or something?
Yes, I believe so, yeah. Yeah.
It's great news, though, that they are voting, the right parties. It is fantastically encouraging that the French are doing that. However, it is kind of difficult to turn on our mainstream media and not be able to differentiate between that foolishness of the 55-year-old train driver who can't retire and the yellow vest, and they seem to be protesting too much, is what I get from them. But it is great to see that there's a bit of sense there as well. It's very encouraging.
Yeah. I suppose if you look at the general trajectory, that the right has increased very strongly in France as it has across Europe, but I suppose not as quickly as we would like. But in the scheme of things, the right and Le Pen group has increased very strongly in France, but not they have an outright majority.
Well, we did terrific. We did, like all the independents, your party, your Irish people, as a percentage of the vote, we did very good first time out, didn't we?
Well, look at the poll there today. Came out there in the Sunday Independent today. Sinn Féin vote is down to 18%. Now, that means the Sinn Féin vote has fallen from 35% in October last year. It's almost halved in 9 months. Now, if you look at the European elections, the Midlands Northwest, where I was, the Sinn Féin vote fell by over 12%. There was a nationalist vote there of 59,000. First preference went to 13 nationalist candidates in the first round that would easily have won a seat for a nationalist candidate if they had been divided among 1 or 2 people rather than 13 candidates. However, that Sinn Féin vote, I would make the argument, clearly went to the nationalists. Those 13 candidates who are of a strongly nationalist persuasion, it certainly didn't transfer from Sinn Féin to Fine Gael, for example. So, yes, the nationalist vote has certainly increased and the independent vote has increased, but I think we need to funnel it into less parties and less individuals, and we need to get more people elected like Glenn here. So, actually, we had a meeting on Friday, and Glenn gave an excellent talk about why he was successful. And do you know what? It's not a secret, is it, Glenn? Hard work, going out, talking to people at the door, listen to the concerns, and tell them what you stand for.
Yeah.
But there was those busloads of people that were going around the country. Now, I can't see the evidence on paper, and I wasn't, looking outside the voting places all day long. But the difference between me, 486, and 521 or something of the Sinn Féin candidate meant that I got struck off as not near the highest, and I never got a look in with regards to second-class votes or transfers over or anything like that. So that busload made a fucking huge difference for the likes of Paul here or myself, and across the board for the Irish people anyway.
Yeah. Actually, I did very well off AJ Cahill. He gave me, I think he got about 3,000 or 3,500 votes, and I got over 1,000 transfers from him. But from most of the candidates, there wasn't a great rate of transfer between nationalists. There's something we'll definitely have to encourage everybody to vote nationalist. Well, I'd say vote Irish Freedom Party first, and then down after that, vote transfer nationalists. Is very, very important. We could see it in the way the election played out.
Hopefully, Herman, we're all going to be under one banner. I know you're in cahoots about that in the background, and I wish you all the very best of luck with that. I'm a Christian, and I hope that remains in whatever banner that would be. There's nothing other than a Christian moral compass will get us out of this mess, because we have far too many enemies to fight.
Well, you would have been very happy there yesterday, where both myself and Glenn and Paul we were all there at Rally for Life there yesterday, and I was very pleased to see large numbers, like a number of members of the Irish Freedom Party there, standing up for the right to life, to protect the most innocent and defenceless members of our community, which is the unborn child, and for marriage, and like for people to encouraging people to have children, continue our nation in the future. And it was good to see other nationalist candidates and there as well. So they're definitely, the importance of Christianity as the basis of our culture certainly is a very strong part of the Irish Freedom Party and other nationalist parties as well.
I am delighted to hear that.
Sorry, I was going to say the most shocking thing I heard yesterday was that of all the pregnancies in Ireland, 40% of them were aborted. 40%.
Yeah. And here's RTE again reporting around 3,000 people have marched through Dublin city centre. That was a lot more people than 3,000.
It was more than 3,000. It was well over 6,000 anyway.
Yeah,
at least
double that. Yeah,
because definitely. It was bigger than ours, and ours was about almost 5,000. And that was
ours was 10,000. What are you talking about, Glenn?
5,000. I don't know, 5 to 10,000 or something like that. But that was big, massive one.
Yeah. But I was talking about the crime. Ain 2, your man from Ain 2, Paddy Tobin stood up during the week and spoke about crime. Now, I just wanted to go with this. This is just him talking about the crime in the Dáil. And then I want to go with Eva Vlad Donnebrook. You know her, the Dutch girl.
I know her from the European Parliament, would you believe?
Oh, she's brilliant. You must get me to meet her. I'd love to meet her. She's a lovely girl.
She's even better looking than you are, Paul. Incredible.
I know, that's it. That's why I want to meet her. But I'm going to go with Ain 2 first. Ain 2 first.
I was being sarcastic.
But I'll go with this, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Taoiseach, I think there's a disconnect between your rhetoric and the reality on the ground. And I think for people listening into this debate, it's like you're talking about an alternative universe in many ways. I heard you talk about another task force. There's nearly a Father Ted element to that. Is there, anything to be said about another task force, maybe in relation to this? There's something to be said about actually employing more Gardaí, and this is the major problem, Taoiseach. And unless it's actually fixed, we're going to see this problem increase. Garda numbers are at their lowest per capita in the last 5 years. We have one of the lowest police force per capita in the whole of the European Union. Gardaí are retiring and resigning more than they're being recruited at the moment. And actually, for some months, resignations make up the majority of Gardaí that are actually leaving the force. And you mentioned the horrific deaths on the roads. I brought up the fact that 5 years ago, there was well over 1,000 Gardaí policing the roads. Now there's less than 600. If you don't have the Gardaí to enforce the laws, behaviours are going to change, and there's going to be more accidents, and more people are going to lose their lives. The collapse in the number of Gardaí has had a massive effect in making our streets and our town squares less safe over the last while. And absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind that unless we deal with the sentencing and the prison spaces, more people are going to get off scot-free with lenient sentences in relation to violence, sexual and assaults in future, and that has to change.
Well, let me start and see where I can agree with you. We need more Gardaí. That's true. It's a statement of fact, and that's why we're putting a huge focus on Garda recruitment and retention. You'll see more measures from us this month in relation to that too. And in relation to Garda roads policing, I've met the Garda Commissioner on this. I've met the Assistant Garda Commissioner with responsibility for roads policing, and of course met the Minister for Justice. I've personally chaired 2 meetings of the Ministerial Road Safety Committee. This year you will see an increase in roads policing Gardaí as well. There's also been a direction from the Commissioner in relation to a focus on roads policing. But we also know that killer behaviours need to change on the roads, and you shouldn't need a guard to tell you not to drink and drive. You shouldn't need a guard to tell you not to take drugs and drive. You shouldn't need a guard not to tell you to speed as well. Yeah, but let's not just say everything is down to the guards. When you, and I don't mean you, when one gets behind the wheel of a car, we have individual important responsibilities too. Second issue I do agree with you on is the issue of sentencing. Now, what we have done, and maybe we don't agree on how we get there, but what we have done is we have set up, obviously, the Judicial Council through the Judicial Council Act 2019, and there is currently a body of work underway in relation to sentencing guidelines. The first area that they're looking at in relation to sentencing guidelines is in the area of domestic violence, and they're due to have those sentencing guidelines in place before the end of this year. The second area they're looking at in terms of sentencing guidelines is the issue of fatal driving offences.
He's saying all the right things, isn't he? You know what I mean?
There's guide. Do you know what? I swear to God, he's going to bring out guidelines for those that commit crime. Is he? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
For me, it's just one uni party. They were playing volleyball there, and Mr. Ain2 Padder spikes the ball for Harris to talk about his agenda, which is, well, I'm implementing all of this new crackdown laws on what? Domestic violence. That's you and I, the Irish. And next thing your missus is shouting at you because you can't afford to pay the road tax. What was the other one? Fatalities on roads. Now, fatalities on roads have not increased at all. My area would be supply chain management, transport management, that sort of thing. And I can tell you from my father brought his business from horse and cart, his father's business, to trucks. And he would tell you that the streets of Dublin were fucking mayhem when you had horses. And no statistics of people dying. Like, if you were to break down the statistics of people dying in cars, they're lone occupants, they're suicides. You know, like,
but you know when it comes to criminality, like he's mentioned there about people being unsafe and stuff, etc. Like immigration, large numbers of unvetted males coming into Ireland increases crime. There's not only a correlation, there's a causal link between large numbers of unvetted males and criminality. It's the same all across the world, it's the same all across Europe, be it Sweden, Germany, Italy, wherever. But also, there is, I'm sure, guard enforcement, guard numbers go down, the ability of the state to enforce law and order and to implement the laws decreases. When there's no prison places for criminals, that they're out greater leniency in sentences, criminals who should be in jail are out walking the streets. That is a problem. Now, you can hear there that Simple Simon has learned over the last 3 months, because 2 months before that local election, he started making noises on immigration, getting tough on crime. That worked well for them, actually. So he's going to continue on this vein. Hopefully, he will actually do what he says. He's just throwing at the moment. He's just throwing shapes. He's making promises. He's making plans, but I don't believe much has been implemented yet. He is an expert in PR. You know, I think that's what he studied. He studied journalism at college for a year or two. I believe he failed, but that is his specialty. PR. He's not a project manager. He doesn't implement things to the end. So he's good at talking about that. He's going to promise, but what we need is the implementation of. We need to control immigration. We need to slash immigration. We need to cut welfare to, which is providing the draw factor for people to come in. We need more guards. We need to. Like as Padder Tobin mentioned there's a huge increase in people who are retiring and Gardaí who are resigning. We need to increase the numbers of guards so Ireland can be safer again. We need to build more prisons so that those who commit criminal acts, who make Ireland less safe, are actually given a sentence and put in jail and suffer for feel the consequences of their criminality, because we have to make people safer. But Simon Harris, Fine Gael will talk about being tough on crime and tough on the causes of crime, but I don't believe we'll ever implement them. I believe it's only a PR exercise at the moment.
What you said there is how he should have answered the question. But he went off into, well, what's my agenda? This is how I'm going to answer the question. And I want my 15-minute cities, and I'm going to town on your cars. So if you have a crash in your car, you're going to prison. The first thing you do if you have a crash in your car is, oh my God, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You know? Not that I want to go to prison because I've killed somebody. You know? I've made a mistake, genuinely. So he just wants to speak about his agenda. And that's what we're seeing more and more. Another fine example of that, of the media, of propaganda communist media was this whole shenanigans around this Nicola one who attacked the soldier. Now, it turns out that Natasha O'Brien, sorry, Herman. And the whole thing is that the media grabs onto this case, and suddenly your Taoiseach is listening to a case that's happening in the media and reacting to it, saying, do you know what, we need to enforce more laws with that. We'll get our hate speech law in. So again, they're playing volleyball of spiking the ball with the case, and then the media puts this in front of us all, and Harris spikes the ball. But it's all for the wet, who agenda again.
Yeah. I'm going to go with this, what's her name? Eva Villar. She's beautiful, I have to say. But I'd love to meet her. But I'm going to go with this video. This girl.
I actually know her from the European Parliament. She was an assistant to a Dutch MEP, and she left about 2 years ago, as far as I remember, 2.5 years ago.
Lovely. I used to see her on a thing called the British, what's it, the English column or whatever it was. She used to do a bit on that show as well.
The Summon Report. There's a guy, Canadian guy, I believe. Mark Steen Report, was it?
Mark Steen, yeah.
Mark Steen show.
Steen all the time on GB News, yeah, that's right. And on the Mark Stein show, yeah. I'm going to go with this. I'll let you listen to it. This is what's going on the last 10 days around Europe that nobody is talking about.
So it happened again. The news hit today that a 14-year-old girl has been found dead, drugged, and abused in an apartment of an Afghan migrant in Vienna. This follows the news of 2 children who were 9 and 10 years old that were stabbed by a migrant in Duisburg-Marlow in Germany. And this follows the news of 3 women who were stabbed by a migrant also in Vienna, and a 12-year-old girl that was gang raped by 17 migrant minors also in Vienna. And that's in the last 10 days. That's 10 days in Europe. And this happens all the time. And I can't even begin to tell you how many cases like this I've reported on in the last, few years. It's endless. It's endless. And it literally never ends because nothing ever changes. Our policies never change. And then there's some uproar for a few days. Everyone's like, man, what happened here? And, the newspapers, if they even write about it, there will be one headline, one article. And then everybody forgets again. And the list of girls and women and boys and men, too, who've been sacrificed on the altar of mass migration is too long to even fathom. And we just forget. We don't know. But everybody who argues for mass deportations or who says, hey, we need to close our borders is a racist. But if you're white in this continent and you get killed, nothing happens. Nothing happens. The whole world was up in arms about a drug dealer who was murdered in the United States, George Floyd. If you're a white 14-year-old girl found dead and raped in an apartment of a migrant in Vienna, nobody even knows your name. Nobody knows your name. And I swear, I'm thinking about this now. I filmed documentaries before. I will do it again. No, someone needs to make a film about this. Somebody needs to put a face to all of these victims, to all of these girls, to all of these women, to all of these boys and men who've been murdered by people who should have never been here. If it's the last thing I'll do, I'm making this promise to you right now. I'm emotional about it. I'm going to make this film. I'm going to make this film because something needs to happen here, and we can't just forget their names. We don't even know their names in most cases.
She's a brave woman.
Brilliant. She's brilliant, I have to say. She is a brave woman to be coming out and talking about it. You know what I mean? The way she is,
Is she in politics?
No, she's just a reporter. She done a great speech a few weeks ago. I didn't show it on here. It was 12 minutes long. It was a bit long. It's very hard to keep people captive for 12 minutes. You know what I mean? But I would recommend everyone goes and has a look at it. I think it's 12 minutes long. It's about 2 months ago she did it, and she spelt it out, and she told it like the way London now has 56% migrant population. So that's already outgrown the native population. Bradford has 42% of a migrant population. She spelt it all out, and she's very good now, I have to say. And we all know the migrants are causing this crime spike in this country. Like, it's around the world. Like, Malmo is in Sweden is the rape capital of Europe. You know what I mean? It's gone ridiculous. Like, it really has.
I was on Talk TV today. Actually, I was asked to speak on this very topic. They're going hard on this. They've had enough, like the spike in criminality and loss of security in Britain is a massive issue, and they've had enough of being PC about it. So they brought up the whole thing about the Pakistani, Somalian, Muslim-led rash of gang rape that is taking place all across the north of England, and I call it what it is. It's rape jihad. It's this religious political ideology of Islam, which wants to dominate and humiliate both the culture of European Christianity, the men and the woman. And there's been a huge rash of gang rape in England. I just brought out some stats. In 2022, there was 12 women murdered in Ireland. 5 of those were murdered by non-nationals. The Swedish government report that a Swedish non-national is 2.5 times more likely to commit rape or sexual assault in Sweden than a native. In Germany, a government-funded report in Lower Saxony University found that between 2015 and 2016, there'd been a 10% increase in serious crime. 92% of that was carried out by newly arrived asylum seekers. So there is a causal link between large numbers of unvetted males and serious crimes. And the only way we're going to stop about it, as what we were talking about earlier, we've got to stop the flood of free-for-all immigration into Europe, into Ireland. Got to increase the number of police and increase the number of prisons for those who commit crimes. One, if they're here illegally, they should be deported immediately. But of those who are here for a while, if they commit crimes, they should be in the slammer. And they should stay there, 1, to give a lesson, 2, for punishment, and 3, to make sure that everybody else knows that, send out a signal. If you commit crimes, you're going to do the time.
Yeah, it's true. It is. But I want to, there's someone, what did he post in there? Let me have a look there now. Oh, very disingenuous comment to say your audience couldn't watch a 12-minute video, so you didn't show it. You know yourself, if you've something going on for 12 minutes, you know, people, after 5 minutes, people lose interest unless it's gripping, you know. But what was I going to go with? Ross Kemp, you know your man Ross Kemp, he does all them prison things and all that. Used to be in East End.
Older guy.
Yeah, this is just a minute long. Okay, this is of a rape gang in Africa. He's talking to these guys, and these guys are telling him, yes, we rape her, and yeah, so what? She, you know, but I listen to this, and Jesus, it's horrendous. But these are the people that are letting into this country.
Guys, let's go. Some of them, they're not screaming. It's like they wanted to be raped, you see. She also grabs you see, no more
like
crying.
She's
like,
enjoying it, you know,
see.
even though she isn't, but it's like she's enjoying it.
Do you think it's right? Do you think it's right to rape?
Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong.
What about the consequences of what you're doing in terms of how that affects the person that's raped?
Yeah, the consequences, we look at that all the time, you know, because it happens, she might scream, you know, people might wake up. A lot of people, especially.
I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the emotional effect, the physical effect it has on the girl.
Yeah. Sometimes we know that we might rape her and wake up tomorrow with viruses ourselves, like HIV, you know.
What about regretting what you've done to the girl?
I also do regret about it, because if she fell pregnant, what will be that baby's father? Who will be that baby's father?
But what about her personal feelings?
Different cultures, different values, and different practices. That's what happens.
How are you, Martin?
That's why I mentioned the word rape jihad today. These people, it's part of their culture. They want to impose and dominate and humiliate European men and women.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. How's things, Martin? You all right? You got all your stuff sorted?
How we all do, gents? Yeah, well, look, no. we'll tell you after tomorrow. It'll either be very quiet or very public.
Yeah.
I won't say any more till after tomorrow. Just on that clip, I just caught the end of that clip, the Ross Kemp clip. There is I don't like to say it, but the reality is the IQ measure of people is really important, and it goes back to demographics and geography, depending on where you were lucky enough to be born, and the education system that you have in the country you were born in. It speaks massive levels to who and what you are, and also, I think almost more importantly, your moral compass, your actual religious beliefs. It's kind of laughed and joked about now, but we're a Judeo-Christian society, and there's a 10 commandments there, and there's parables and fables that we were taught growing up. They instill a moral value in us that make us respect everybody, and they make us treat people with niceness and kindness. And if you grow up in a society that doesn't have those values, you're not going to be the same as us, and that's just a reality. I always struggle to understand why people can't accept this and understand this. It's not derogatory to say that if you grow up with different values, you're going to be a different person, and you're going to have different values. This is a weapon that the far left and media and governments use sometimes. But the reality is, based on where you grew up and what morals were instilled in you as a child, and that's where all our moral compasses come from. And as I said, I love Herman is you're far more advanced than I am, Herman. But Judeo-Christian studies are fantastic. There is so much knowledge there, and sociology and all these different elements of what makes us who we are. But if you don't have that, you're a very different person. You're a very different human to what most Europeans would be. What was your thoughts on that?
Because Irish culture is founded on predominantly the Catholic Church. The influence over the last 1,500 years is immense. We don't realize. You ever see the scene? I think it's in is it The Godfather 3, where the cardinal is talking to the guys, talking about the influence of like a stone being dropped in water, and the influence on the culture over many, many centuries. It's immense. We don't even realize that. We take these things for granted. I think the writer Tom Holland did a book a number of years ago where he talks about the revolutionary effect that the ideas of Christianity had on the ancient civilization of Rome and Greece and Syria, etc. What we take for granted now was at the time revolutionary. And but a big problem that we've had in Europe and Western world in general over the last number of 50 years or whatever is let's be straight about the bullshit ideas of Vatican II, and now the education system for the last number of decades where all religions are the same. No, they're not all the same. The values and the doctrines that they hold, their view on human nature, their view on God, their views on what is a virtue, what is a vice, can be very, very different. Islam, I believe, is a political, pseudo-religious political ideology of domination and submission, which wants to, it is a misogynist dream. It's based on violence. It encourages men to be violent, to steal, to rape, all the stuff about booty. If you look and contrast the lives and the words of Jesus Christ and Muhammad, these guys are like chalk and cheese. It's not only one is a creator, one is a creature, but one talks about, one had was helping to murder hundreds of Jews in one day in a battle, come home and would have sex with his. It's a lesser known fact that he had sexual intercourse with 9 of his wives in one night. Quite a performer. You might know about it, Paul. But that like a 53-year-old man would have get married to a girl of 6 and have intercourse with a girl of 9, which is like, that's rape. It's pedophilia, basically. Like, one is a like warmonger and a pedophile advocating violence. Another one who makes a sacrifice that like others could live. Their actions and their words are completely different. So this idea that all religions are the same, it's baloney and it's untrue. And we have to acknowledge there's different cultures. And as Martin said as well, because of geography, and there's also different IQs. Yeah, because like if you look at the thing, China, the most intelligent people in the world on average is in China, and so Europe is on average 100. Now, do you know actually County Derry, they had an analysis there that the average IQ in County Derry, where I'm from, is 130, but I diverse, and but sub-Saharan Africa is less than 70. Now,
where was the decimal point?
Yeah, decimal point in the wrong place. But sub-Saharan Africa is 70, so there must be consequences for. As we're looking at that video of Ross Kemp and those guys aren't high IQ, are they? Like, we're not getting the best when these guys came into Ireland. So why are we taking these people? What do they contribute to Irish society? Do they contribute to our safety? Do they contribute to our economy? Do they make Ireland less secure? The answer is no. So we shouldn't be taking them. And anyway, these people are coming to us. We never colonized their country. They shouldn't be colonizing our country. They're colonizers if they want to come in here without us.
Jesus, Harman, check your white privilege, please.
Wish I had some.
I'm just looking there at the end.
Okay, so this is something that needs to be addressed, and we need to address this very intelligently and very, very, very tactfully. Critical race theory is basically Marxism wrapped up in different flavors. Okay, so I would encourage anybody watching to basically don't use Google, use a different search engine, but Google what critical race theory is and where it came from, and actually Google all these aspects. They basically all boil back to affirmative action in the 1960s. But if you watch how these systems have been manipulated over the years, they're all just systems of control, and they've been weaponized by various different nefarious entities. So we have race wars now, and we've got cultural wars now. But there are players pulling the strings in relation to what's happening. I'll throw a name out there for people to Google. A guy called Ibram X. Kennedy, Kenedi, not the Irish Kennedy. But Google this guy and see what's happening in Ireland now, and you will see a play-by-play book of what the Irish government are trying to instill. This guy tried to do the same thing pre and during the Black Lives Matter riots over in the States. These are all ideologies that are weaponized to weaken societies, and it doesn't matter what society you're in, whether it be European society or American society or Australian society, or they're designed to weaken society. But I can give you the answer. I'm not going to. Please go and look for the answer yourself.
Did you see your man, Dr. Umar, who ran Blanchardstown for the European? Now, in the Quran, it is against Muhammad's teaching for you to be a paid cleric, right?
Yep.
The people pay him to be the cleric.
Mm-hmm.
So it's against their own teaching for any of these boys to exist.
But
because that's meant to be an elder statesman.
No, okay. So are you aware that in the Quran, it is permitted for any true Muslim and follower of Muhammad to lie to his enemies to fulfill his goals?
Yeah.
Any Muslim is permitted to lie to his enemies to fulfill his goals. If he is acting in the pursuit of spreading the word of Islam, he is allowed to lie to his enemies.
Yeah,
I believe that's called taqiyya, and it's very strong among Shia Islam, especially.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
And it's
So
in the
it's,
Quran as well, actually. Possibly for Sunni Muslims as well. It's stated in the Quran.
And he was able to gain access to Little Valley Mall and to canvas there. Now, I couldn't stand outside fucking Tesco.
Yeah,
you know, he had a huge budget, which was from Fine Gael, to run.
Actually, do you remember his video that was put up and circulated a lot about 3-4 months ago, where he stated he was giving a lecture on Islam, where he says that I think Quran chapter 9 verse 25, Allah commands Muslims to kill the Christians, and where they do not kill them, they must pay the jizya tax. And then he goes on. Right, he doesn't go on saying, "Isn't this terrible about Allah commanding Muslims to kill Christians and the Jews?" But then he goes on to a technical analysis of the jizya tax, and he basically then says, "And what is the jizya tax? It's basically protection money." So it's like a big racket of go kill these people. Allah snack bar, commands Muslims to go and kill Christians and Jews, and when they don't kill them, they have to pay protection money. Like, are we idiots to allow this, like people like this to come into our society? It's a danger. It's a danger for everybody.
Hitchens. I always get the brothers mixed up. Which is the Hitchens?
Peter and Christopher.
Christian, yes, Christopher Hitchens. Like everybody should be sharing the old YouTube videos of Christopher Hitchens debating Islamists. The man was fantastic.
God rest his soul.
Jordan Peterson is quite good at it. Gad Saad is quite good at it. But if you want to watch a man debating the highest rated Islam scholars at the time, Christopher Hitchens, watch him debate them. Absolutely, just left them for dust. I mean, ridiculed their religion. And do you know what? You can believe in whatever God you want to believe in. You can believe in. I love Herman. Did you ever hear of Pastafarianism?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I was actually watching a video about it today. Actually, Gabriel Selassie.
It's a fantastic. It's a fantastic study of the concept of belief, and you know it really is fantastic. And I have great respect for the people who actually put all that together. Now it was in mockery of the system, not the belief. It wasn't mocking faith; it was mocking the systems of faith. And the reality is that we're tiny, and we all know we're tiny, and we all know we need to believe in something. And faith takes many different forms. But if your faith causes harm to others, then your faith isn't real. It really isn't, because there's only one God. We all know there's only one God. There's always been only one God. Even when people were pagans, there was always a supreme God. You know what I mean? There was always a God of the gods. There's never been
creator is
exactly.
what they
There's always been one. There's always been one. So,
and that's with the American Indian. That's with the Irish Druid.
Every faith. There was always the master of everything, and it depends on how deeply you read into the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch would actually explain the older systems of belief with the multi-gods and the Greek gods and the Roman gods, but and even before that. But the reality is that there is a creator, and how you choose to worship him is a reflection on you. If you choose to worship him through faith and trying to be the best you can be, it doesn't matter what you call God, it is God. If you choose to worship him through dominance, through violence, through misogyny, through the belittlement of others, through slavery, then you're evil. You're an evil person, and that is a reality. There are certain faiths on this planet that choose that option. One of them is Islam, to an extent. The other one is politics.
Hmm.
And politics is becoming, politics is probably the wrong word, but this pseudo ideology of politics and science and, the science, the, left v right and stuff like that, that's almost becoming religion. And there is only two sides. There's no middle ground. There is good versus evil. And
we can see the green agenda that the world's going to end in 5 years, 10, 12 years or whatever. It's apocalyptic, it's just like a religion. And there's dogmas and there's high priests and there's a eschatology where the end of the world is coming in 12 years. And it is like a substitute religion. No doubt about it.
It's an evil cult. It's an evil cult designed and similar to a lot of the texts of Islam. It's all about death. It's all about death. It's all about the destruction of humans or the subjugation of humans. And religion takes many forms. Faith takes many forms. But this new ideology it's the same as communism. Communism falls into it. Communism hates religion, but in itself is the most evil religion of all time. It's a belief system that causes nothing but death, starvation. It truly is one of the most evil concepts that humanity has ever come up with. But
I hope you're leading into that all isms are a creation of the Zionists, the Jews within Russia, to divide and conquer us.
So I understand the history, but I also understand that there was religions before Judaism. You know what I mean? That it goes. We need to stop putting names on it and isms and phobias and etc. etc. Humanity is essentially the greatest gift God gave us was our free will, and we get to decide. And we get to decide whether they're going to be good or bad. Bad people can do good things. Good people can do bad things. But there's an inherent morality that Jesus Christ gave us, and this was the change that Jesus gave us. This we'll say a sub-choice of you can. It is the turn the other cheek, but you can be good. He never said you could be evil. He just said you can be good, and there's forgiveness there. And this is the beauty of it, that we all have the choice to make. We can be good and do our very, very, very best without causing harm to others, or we can not. We can choose to not be that person. And the reality is, the society we've created, it makes it much easier to be the person who chooses not than it is the person who chooses to turn the other cheek.
See, taking up, Martin, what you're saying about like communism or Marxism is like a pseudo religion. Glenn, maybe you've experienced more. You're having a bit of experience of the far left in Dublin City Council at the minute. How do you find the political situation in Dublin and the predominance of the far left within Irish society, but certainly within the council chamber?
So in the South Dublin County Council, the communists, which are the people for profit, went from 1 seat to 4 seats, and they're in coalition with Sinn Féin. So you're talking about an anti-establishment vote that's getting them in. So I would have them exposed as being communists because they hide themselves pretty well. Like, you know, if you went around calling yourself the Communist Party of Ireland, you'd lose votes. But, you know, people before profit, it sounds nice off the tongue, but you know, they're truly communists. And they'll bring their views to an extreme length. And you never know, like they're equivalent of fascists going around saying they want to end the republic and bring about a dictatorship. The communists will do the exact same. So don't trust them. And they are getting power. They're going to be our political enemies. If the centre-right parties, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, fail, power will go to us and they'll go to the left wings. And it's probably actually seen in France. It happened in France, didn't it? The far left party is 20-something% or something. So
it's very important to let everybody know the changes that Sinn Féin makes in between elections, that it switches its opinion on the hate speech bill when it suits them. So they'll call to a door now and say that they're totally against the hate speech bill, yet they're the ones that advocate for it in the Dáil, you know?
Well,
They're
people before profit.
shapeshifters that they're probably the only party that we really keep an eye on, but we need to do it with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael as well and break the mold of people voting for who their father voted for, you know?
Yeah.
I was saying, Herman, and before you came in, that I felt when I ran for councillor for Selbridge that there was no sense in me trying to run again, given that media in situ the way it is. And I do believe that in order to, now because of the asylum pact, and we're really stuck that we have to get out of Europe, that the only way of peacefully getting out of this and voted in is to destroy the media mechanism and do that by illegal case against the media, because they are paid by the 33rd Dáil to tell a propaganda communist West narrative. So we just need to do that by improving the payment and what it is doing to us politically.
On that note, lads, we're going to have to finish up there now because we've only 4 minutes left and I have to finish up and do my bit. Dara, it has been a pleasure having you on, mate. Fair play to you. Thanks very much for coming on. Glenn, fair play to you, man. For your first one, you're doing very well. Herman, as always, great to have you on. And Martin, fair play to you, as always, to have you on. But you can wait down below if you want. We'll be finished up in a minute or two and we'll have a chat if you want. Well, there you go. We have it there tonight now. And it was a great show, I have to say. Turned out very well. Hang on, I get my big screen. Yeah. But there was one video. I just wanted to show one little video here for a minute. Okay. This is coming to this is coming to your area shortly. Okay. This is Saggart Lewis Station.
What are you doing there? What are you doing there? What? No English. What's the story? What are you doing there? What? No English. Why are you smoking weed? You smoking weed? What's going on in here? Hello? How are you? How long are you living here, buddy? No English. Look at
that was that one. I'm just going to go with this one now. This is just City West.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, people, that's what's coming to a tent near you. These people are just on all the Lewis lines, and that's what they're doing. They're heading out there. But as I say every week, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. You just let it loose, and it will defend itself. Good night and God bless.